All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. This video comes from Michael Knowles, and it's titled, Michael Knowles Debates Viral Pro-Choice Activist Bronte Remsik. Now, in the beginning of their sit-down, he did mention how he tries to reach out to a lot of people on the left, and nobody is ever brave or courageous enough to come and sit down and have a debate with him in studio. However, she was, so I will give her points for that. But with that out the way, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe while you're watching. Now, let's roll it.
I don't need to recite these statistics for you. The percentage of women who get abortions because the baby poses a direct threat to their lives, it's a very small number.
And by
far less than 1%.
By direct threat to their lives, you mean they're going to lose their life?
Yep.
Okay, well, Michael, do you know what the leading cause of death for pregnant people is?
Pregnant people?
Mm-hmm.
Mothers? Women?
If you'd like to call them mothers, not all of them are mothers, but if you'd like to call them that.
What are they if they're not mothers?
They're pregnant.
See, now, I'll also throw this out there that in the beginning, she mentioned that she was going to try to change the views of, of Michael Knowles' base, of his fans. And when you don't acknowledge that pregnant people are women, mothers, you lose a lot of points with people on this side. It's kind of hard to take you serious after you say something like that,
Pregnant people.
What people other than mothers are pregnant?
Does it bother you to use inclusive language?
Well,
it's just interesting because
I prefer to use precise language.
It's interesting because you come into this conversation, trying to hold this moral superiority, but then
I try to be moral when I can, but
Right, but when I use inclusive language, which it only takes a couple extra syllables to use inclusive language,
to include
and
who?
It seems to include people who don't, identify as women but can become pregnant.
See, I can tell that she has a false sense of what morality really is, because just because you aren't inclusive with your language, because you choose not to be inclusive with your language, that doesn't mean you have no morals. So in her mind, Michael Knowles is lacking in moral stability because he chooses not to use that inclusive language. But that's not what morality is all about. Morality isn't about just being nice and going along with what everybody else is doing, whatever the end thing is, and just letting everything go by. Part of morality means standing up for what's truly right, and she's on the wrong side of this.
So, like a person who's born a woman and then identifies as a man and is pregnant.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that in order to be a moral person, I need to accept the idea that a man, someone who is born a man and looks like a man, can really become a woman. That's a prerequisite of my being a moral person.
I mean, yes. To me it is, because if you are trying to deny someone of their identity and deny what their life experience is, then that doesn't seem like a moral stance to me. I want to be accepting, and I want to respect people's life experiences and respect the way that they want to identify and respect the way that they want to present themselves to the world.
Bronte, I would like to identify, I do identify actually, as the correct person on this issue of abortion. Okay. I identify as being correct and more correct than you on this issue. And I would just ask that you accept and affirm my identity. Do you?
I see what he's doing.
Well, you are not a medical professional, and abortion and pregnancy is a medical concern. That's not your identity.
That is my identity.
So first it was a medical concern. First it was a moral concern. Now it's a medical concern.
I promise you that's my identity. I promise you
that's very different from your sexual and gender identity.
How so? What I'm talking here involves the mind. I mean, don't you think? I'm not just talking about my gonads or something like that. I'm not just talking about my sexual appetites or desires. I'm talking about my mind, my capacity for reason, my judgment here. And so you're saying you don't respect that identity, but you do respect the identity of a man who believes himself to be a woman.
I'm saying that you are someone without medical training, and pregnancy is a medical condition and abortion is a medical procedure. And so we need to abide by the informed and knowledgeable opinions of medical experts. Again, you are entitled to your opinion, but you are not an informed and knowledgeable medical expert, so your opinion is not equal.
And see, this is why morals and values ultimately trump medical science, because medical science is stuff that changes over time. You can go look right now and see certain medical professionals saying that it's okay to, to do the gender affirming therapy and you know, sex changes, and it's other medical professionals who choose not to do those type of things. So what she's relying on really doesn't have a strong standing, whereas Michael Knowles, you know, he's a religious person, so his morals date back as far as the Bible. He has a strong standing on this. If tomorrow all the medical professionals come out and say that she's wrong and Michael Knowles was right, then in that case she'll just have to, you know, shut up and agree with Michael Knowles. If it's like she says, all about what the medical professionals are saying, you know what I mean?
And should not override the opinions of medical experts on this issue. And they have stated unequivocally that abortion access is essential to comprehensive, evidence-based health care.
Bronte, are you a trained epistemologist?
No.
You haven't studied epistemology?
No.
And yet you are making claims about knowledge and how knowledge can be ascertained and expressed. But you're not trained in that. So it seems to me, if I'm not allowed to have opinions about abortion because I'm not a trained medical professional, you surely shouldn't be permitted to have opinions about how people hold opinions if you're not trained in the very study of knowledge, epistemology.
I'm sorry, if you have a heart condition, who do you go to? Do you go to your deli worker or do you go to a cardiologist?
If you have a philosophical question, who do you go to?
This isn't a philosophical question. This is a question about medical access. This is a question about medical access.
No, well, ultimately, what we're talking about is human life, right? I mean, that's the reason it's a controversial issue.
Well, yes, but also...
Let me just interject real quick. So I think to Michael Knowles, human life, the baby's human life is what's most important, but to her, the medical access for the woman is what's most important. You know, women like this choose to overlook the baby inside of the woman and just delegate all power to the woman having the child.
Pregnant people are living human lives. So we are talking about their life, and their life takes precedent when it comes to medical care.
Right, but that's now you've moved out of the realm of the natural sciences. Now you're into the realm of the philosophical sciences.
No, this is a fundamental principle of medical ethics. This is a fundamental principle
of ethics, right.
Of medical ethics.
Right, which is a species of ethics broadly. But you just said you're not a trained ethicist. You're not. Well, you said you're not a trained epistemologist. Maybe you're a trained ethicist, are you?
I'm trained in medicine, and we've had to take multiple courses in medical ethics. I have my master's in medical science. I'm a third-year medical student.
But not ethics or philosophy.
We have to take. I don't know if you know this, but when you are going through medical training, you are trained in ethics because otherwise, doctors.
I should hope so. No, I should hope. I mean,
exactly.
I should hope that anybody who has any education at all would have some training in ethics. Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
But would you call yourself?
But at the same time, you know, how old is this girl? She is, I thought it mentioned it somewhere. She's a third-year medical student. She looks young. I think she's probably in her 20s. You can fact check me on that after. But just because you're a medical student and you've took a few ethics classes, medical ethics classes, and you're, you know, in your 20s, that doesn't give you the right to, you know, declare what is right and what is wrong either.
Yourself an expert in ethics and...
I would call myself knowledgeable, and also to be clear...
Yeah, I would call myself knowledgeable.
Right, but to be clear, as I said at the beginning of this discussion, we're not sitting here just having a discussion about our differences in opinion. I am here to educate you and your viewers on the guidelines and the published statements of our country's leading medical experts, specifically the
Not even just the unpublished ones, but the published ones.
But the published ones, the published opinions of the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, who is our country's leading experts when it comes to the health and well-being of pregnant people. And they say unequivocally, and you can look, there's also publications from Harvard, from Colorado University, from Yale, name it. Our country's leading minds state that abortion access is essential. So you are entitled to your opinion, but it is not equal to the opinion of people who train their entire lives to understand the subject deeply.
Well, if we're citing experts and the leading authorities, I would be remiss if I didn't cite the President's Council on Bioethical Inquiry, which in the middle of the 2000s assembled the nation's leading experts on bioethical questions from all of the top schools with all of the fanciest degrees, and they concluded that abortion is bioethically unacceptable. It's immoral. It's wrong. You can't do it. So I'm not quite sure why I'm supposed to trust the trade organization of American obstetricians over the bioethicists who certainly have far more expertise in this realm of knowledge than the obstetricians, who might be very good at delivering babies, but might not be quite as good at understanding matters of ethics and morality.
So obstetricians
That was a very good rebuttal.
and gynecologists specialize in the health and well-being of pregnant people, and pregnancy affects the health and well-being of pregnant people.
But it also affects the babies.
Correct.
Yeah.
But when it comes to looking at a pregnant person, their health, when it comes to, a medical condition that it is between the life of the pregnant person and ending the pregnancy, the life of the pregnant person takes precedent unless otherwise specified by the pregnant person, because consent is everything.
So you're saying that the life of the mother takes precedent unless the mother says no, I don't. Okay. Now, again, the only reason I keep bringing up this matter of bioethics is that statement that you're making is not a statement that pertains to natural science. It's in the way that I would say, if you want to get a baby out, you use this clamp, or if you want to make an incision into an abdomen, you use this sort of knife or this instrument. When you say so-and-so's life takes precedence over someone else's life, that is a philosophical statement and an ethical statement.
Yes, I get where he's saying. He drove it home. It took me a little minute to connect the dots, but yeah, I mean, you transcend past medicine and medical science when like you said, you're picking one life over another. So that is definitely an ethical statement. But that's it for the reaction, you guys. I'll leave this in the description below if you want to watch this in its entirety. But ultimately, I think that abortion should only be there for those rare 1%, 2% special needs cases. Other than that, I think what you see is a lot of people just using it and abusing it, along with a lot of other types of contraceptives. It's almost gotten to the point now where you can some people actually lump abortion in as a contraceptive, and that's not what abortion should be used for. It should be used for special needs, rare cases. Other than that, nope. So don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe on your way out the door. Till next time, you guys, I'm out of here. Peace.